Hi, welcome to day 4 of Profiles to Rank Up and Bank Up. This is our last day together. And today I'm going to address the question that might be going through your head, which is how the heck do I get sales and new team members if I never mention the name of my company or the name of my products? Maybe something that's been going through your head. And so we are going to address that today. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Tanya Humphrey, and I help network marketers build an online brand that influences people. So let's jump into this. And before we get into the 4 different things that you can post to get your prospects and customers' attention, I want to kind of back up for a second, because up until now, it's very possible that you have been a salesy billboard, right? So it's been buy my stuff, here's a discount on this, here's a discount on that, before and after pictures, hey girl messages, right? Super salesy and a little bit spammy, and that's okay. But the thing is, we're going to have to shift your audience's perspective, because you've been teaching them to ignore you. By being a salesy billboard, you've been teaching your audience to ignore you. And so now we're going to have to shift their perspective, and that may take a little bit of time, and it is going to take some effort on your part to just change the way that you do things, okay, going forward, so you can start to get people's attention. You can start to get people reaching out to you. You can start to get people asking, oh my gosh, what is it that you do? Okay, now I'm curious about, what you just posted about. Can you tell me more about that? How awesome would that be, right? So we're going to jump into that. So how do you get your perfect prospect's attention or your perfect customer's attention? There are actually 5 different ways to get your audience's attention. We're going to talk about those. Number 1 is to connect with your audience. Okay, you want to connect with your audience. You can do this through story. Story is such a powerful tool, your story. But even as you tell your story, make sure that you're still focused on your prospect or your customer. So what problems and struggles have you overcome that you can help them overcome and guide them into a solution? So that's the way you want to tell your story, okay? You also want to get vulnerable with your audience. So up until now, probably your Facebook page has had real no glimpse into your life, into who you are, into what you stand for, right? So you've created this brand that's all salesy, and none of you. And we've got to flip that. So now we need to get vulnerable with the audience. Start sharing your life, what things are important to you. Give people a real look into your life and give them a chance to connect with you. If you want people to reach out to you, then you first must be real, and you must be willing to get vulnerable with people, okay? So they can see there's a real person behind that profile and make that connection with you. All right, so number 2, the second way that you can make those connections with your audience is to educate them. Educate your audience, okay? You can do this through curiosity posts. You never say the name of your product or company, right? We've talked about that. You do, however, connect with your audience and make them want to learn more by creating curiosity, okay? So what does your audience need to know in order to make a decision? Here's some questions to ask yourself as you're writing these posts, right? What does your audience need to know in order to overcome a struggle, right? So what do they need to know in order to overcome a struggle? What is the intent behind your post or your live? Always have a main intent. What is the intent behind it? And what do you want your audience to do at the end of your live or your posts? And what problem are you addressing for the customer? What problem are you addressing for them? So in other words, what's in it for them? Keep that in the back of your mind as you're writing posts, doing lives, any kind of content you put out. What's in it for your audience? That's the number 1 question, right? The third way that you can connect is to inspire your audience. Okay, so you can do this through a story of struggle. So what things have you overcome? What things has maybe a customer overcome? What things has someone else in your life overcome that you can connect back and inspire? You can do it through inspirational quotes or videos. I don't really recommend sharing a whole lot of other people's videos, but it's okay to do it on occasion. But then always put your spin on it. What is it about the video or the quote that speaks to you? What is it that touched your heart, and what is it that made you share it, and what message did you get from it that you want to share with your audience? Okay, so that's about inspiring. And then the fourth way is to entertain your audience. So lives are some of the best ways to do entertainment because you never know what'll happen in a live, right? You might have kids running through the background, cat jumping up in the middle of the camera. I usually have that. I'm surprised he hasn't jumped up yet. You just never know what's going to happen, right? And so lives are a good way to entertain people. It also gives them a chance to hear your voice, hear your intonation, hear and see your face all at the same time, your facial expressions. And you can share funny stories or observations, something that happened during the day. If you're laughing, they get to hear that too, right? They get to have a real connection with you in a live. But you can do funny stories if you're not quite comfortable yet on live. Also through a post, right? You can tell a funny story. And kids are, if you have kids, are some of the best entertainment, and they are some of the best stories that you can share because they just do the funniest stuff, right? And so entertain and then connect it back to something that made you laugh, or something that maybe a lesson you got out of it. Make people laugh. That's another way that you can entertain, right? But it's all about, no matter what you do, it's all about connecting with your audience and giving them an insight into your life and the things that are important to you. The fifth way, I'm going to give you a fifth way as well, is to create conversation. So Facebook is all about creating connection, and they want conversations created in your feed. They want people to connect with what you said and then have comments to say, not just like one word, 100%, or that's great. No, actual comments that get people thinking. So when you create a conversation, ask questions that maybe get people thinking, or maybe go a little controversial, against the grain of what is norm in your industry. So for example, my team, one of the things we say is you should burn your list of 100 family and friends. Now, if you're a network marketer, you're like, wait, what? What do you mean burn my list? That's my market. What are you talking about? That's where I need to start, right? And so some people really glom onto that list and never let go. And we go against the grain and tell people burn the list. We're not going to go with the warm market. We're going to start in a different way. And so it's something that's against the grain, but it catches people's attention, and then the conversation starts, right? So that's the fifth way, is to create conversation, get people connecting, get people start thinking, and get people to see kind of where your head's at and what you are all about, okay? But regardless of what you post, you should always follow the 80-20 rule. And if you haven't heard of this, that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and cover it. So 80% of your profile should be lifestyle, entertaining, education, creating conversation, and only 20% should be a pitch or a harder sales post. Only 20%. Okay, no more than that. So 80% should not be pitching or salesy. Only 20%. Okay, and unless you want the prospects to run for the hills, keep it that way. Mostly the 80%, right? You're sharing value, you're sharing content, you're educating, you're becoming a leader in the industry, you're becoming an expert in your field. And only 20% is a pitch. And even when you do pitch, you're still not sharing the name of your company or product, okay? That's still not the way to go about the pitch. So always follow the 80-20 rule. All right, so that is it for today. And if you got value from this training, but you are still wondering, okay, what do I specifically post? How do I put together a curiosity post around my business and my products? Then I want to invite you to grab my new series called Content to Attract New Prospects Again and Again. Okay, so I really would love to see you grab that and dig deeper into how do we put this content together. All right, that's it for today. Hopefully you got a ton of value out of the last 4 days, and hopefully I'll see you later.